Mr. President, we have seen over the last 6 months 2 more attempts that we know of against the United States for terrorist attacks. Most recently in Times Square, where thanks to the vigilance of some New Yorkers and the fine work of the New York Police Department, a bomb was stopped. We've also seen on Christmas Day when Abdullah Muttalib tried to blow up a plane over the skies of America. Thankfully, that bomb did not explode. These are very dangerous times. And I continue to come to the floor, Mr. President, to say we not only need to pay attention to the East, where this danger is stemming from, but we also have to continue to pay attention to the South. We have to continue to pay attention to Venezuela and the dangerous ties between Venezuela and Iran. And I've come to the floor, Mr. President, to speak about the fact that we know that Hezbollah and Hamas are now in Iran. We know that a Spanish judge has accused Venezuelan authorities of conspiring with the ETA, a radical group in Spain, to assassinate the president of Colombia. We know that Venezuela is collaborating with the FARC, the narco-terrorist group, who is bringing drugs and destabilizing all of Central America all the way up into Mexico. We know this dangerous situation. We know that there are flights now between Caracas and Venezuela that don't go through the normal customs channels, where folks get off the plane in Venezuela and who knows where they go. We also know now, Mr. President, that Iran has sent shock troops to Venezuela. We've now also heard of a foiled attempt from a company called Iran, presumably Venezuela, Iran, to ship through Turkey alleged tractor parts to Venezuela that turned out to be explosive materials. And I come to the floor today to update this continuing story and to again bring, hopefully, the focus of this Congress and this administration on the gathering storm that is Venezuela and its contacts to Iran. And that is, not only are there now shock troops from Iran in Venezuela, but we see that the Chinese government is giving $20 billion to Venezuela for derivative future potential to purchase oil, apparently. Lots of questions need to be asked. We need answers from this administration about our focus on Venezuela. Hugo Chavez is a dangerous man, and the continued attempts by the Venezuela regime to work with Cuba to spread disharmony throughout the region, to try to bring other Latin American countries along his strongman tactics are cause for concern. I'll conclude with this, Mr. President. 2 weekends ago, I had the opportunity to go to the Joint Interagency Task Force in Key West, Florida, where tremendous work is done by the Coast Guard, the Navy, the FBI, DEA, and all sorts of other agencies to interdict drug trafficking from South America, Central America, into the United States. And we know that Venezuela is allowing flights to go over its country from Colombia to bring those drugs into Central America. We know how violence comes from those drugs. We're seeing the destabilization of Mexico because of it. But we also know that there are these semi-submersible craft, mini submarines, if you will, that ride just below the water that are being used by drug traffickers out of Colombia with the support of Venezuela to bring large amounts of cocaine into the United States. Mr. President, those same craft could be used to deliver a weapon of terror. This administration and the world has to not just focus on Iran, but has to focus on the dangerous ties between Iran and Venezuela. Mr. President, with that, I yield the floor. I see my friend and colleague from Tennessee is here to speak.